Hey everyone, and welcome to another video here on the Very Cold Lasagna YouTube channel. I am DylanLasagna, the host of the Very Cold Lasagna podcast, and I wanted to discuss some news that happened a couple of days ago. So it's kind of outdated news, but I wanted to discuss it anyway. So WWE did their, I guess you could call it, annual spring cleaning now, because if you remember from last year, or if you don't remember what happened, or you didn't recognize it at all, WWE had their mass spring cleaning, or mass releases, where they released a bunch of wrestlers, a bunch of producers, a bunch of corporate employees to cut costs during the COVID-19 pandemic. This time around, not so many wrestlers were released, and not even any producer or writer or corporate employee were released this time around. Only 10 wrestlers were released this time around, so not as many as last year. But, some hardcore wrestling fans were making a big deal out of it for a couple of days, and I just wanted to check out this list and see who got released. So with that being said, let's take a look who WWE released this past Thursday, April 15th, the exact same day that WWE did that mass release last year in 2020. So let's take a look. So WWE released 10 wrestlers from their contract on Thursday, April 15th. Samoa Joe, Billy Kay, Peyton Royce, Mickie James, Chelsea Green, Tucker, Kalisto, Bo Dallas, Mojo Rawley, and Wesley Blake. And keep in mind, they also released Andrade, but Andrade was asking for his release. Remember Andrade, Cien Almas? I know not all the casual fans remember, but I know the large core, hardcore wrestling fans that watch NXT and I guess a good chunk of his main roster run. They remember Andrade, and he was granted his release, I think it was several weeks ago. And unlike the rest of the wrestlers that were released, Andrade does not have a 90-day no-compete clause. So Andrade is free to perform wherever he wants to go. But these wrestlers that were released, these 10 wrestlers, do have a 90-day no-compete. So in other words, they can't wrestle for any other company like AEW, TNA/Impact, Major League Wrestling, or Ring of Honor, like pretty much any other promotion until I think it's July. So let's take a look at this list. Of wrestlers. Let's take a look at Samoa Joe, who I thought was one of the two biggest notable releases. And it's interesting, Samoa Joe recently, who was on WrestleMania, he actually was one of the color commentators with, I think it was Corey Graves and Byron Saxton, who swapped down in, but I don't remember. Correct me on my memory. But Samoa Joe was on night one of WrestleMania, and just days later, he gets booted off the Raw commentary team, and he gets released. It's interesting that he got released because, he is a former NXT champion, former United States champion. His main roster run was pretty much a failure from the start. And honestly, I liked Samoa Joe, especially during his TNA days, but I don't know. I guess he really didn't have much potential in him in WWE. But I guess hopefully he succeeds somewhere else, whether that's back in TNA or in AEW, or maybe he does some commentary for either one of those companies. But I don't know, man. It's he could have had at least one WWE championship run in him if he tried to work on his gimmick, his personality of being that Samoan submission machine, like he was in TNA. That was his specialty, being the Samoan submission machine. He actually TNA actually expanded on that a bit, if I remember correctly. But Samoa Joe is a goner, and again, he didn't really do a lot in WWE, which is unfortunate. And then we also had Mickie James, the other big notable release. And I don't know. Mickie James was, I don't even know why they bothered bringing her back, because they rarely used her. They rarely used Mickie James, and it's a darn shame. This is one of your veteran and potentially soon to be Hall of Fame like women's wrestlers. This was like along with Trish Stratus and Lita, like once those two retired, Mickie James was literally like the glue that held the Divas division like to some bit of relevancy, you know. And she had like charisma, she had personality, she could actually wrestle, and she was, you know, she was hot. She could make you go get on that bed and go, oh yeah, But I don't know why they keep her around. You know, she could have like helped the likes of the current gen of women in WWE, even though they're not as appealing or both like appearance and charisma and character wise. But Mickie James is gone. Let's look at the rest of this list and see if any of them had any potential, any of them succeeded or failed in WWE. And let's take a look at the jobbers, because half of this list is jobbers. Well, actually, when you look at it on paper, most of it is jobbers. So, in essence, WWE actually took out the trash for once. Like last year, they took out the trash, but this time they're actually taking out the trash. So, let's take a look at the jobbers. Tucker, Kalisto, Bo Dallas, Mojo Rawley, and Wesley Blake. Let's start with Wesley Blake. Nobody knew who he was. If I remember from Technical Work Rate Productions, their Future Endeavored video they posted a couple of days ago, my memory serves correct me, Wesley Blake was in 3 different tag teams, the most recent one being the Forgotten Sons, and the other one with Buddy Murphy, where they were also managed by Alexa Bliss back in NXT. And ever since then, Wesley Blake has done nothing in note, so nobody cares about Wesley Blake. So, yeah. Then we had Mojo Rawley. I didn't really care for Mojo. I mean, he did that stuff with Rob Gronkowski, and when they were doing in the early stages of the pandemic Performance Center era. So, other than that, couldn't really care much about Mojo. Then we have Bo Dallas. Remember the Bo Leave stuff back in 2014, 2015. Then we got the that jobber group with Bo Dallas, Heath Slater. Was I think Jinder Mahal was in there too, and then I don't remember who. Curtis Axel. They were in that like jobber group, that jobber stable in 2016, and then we obviously had the Job Squad with Bo Dallas and Curtis Axel. So other than that, I don't know. Bo Dallas didn't really do much in WWE, but at least he's preparing for life outside of WWE with like real estate from the like Fightful reports that I read. So I mean, that's good for Bo Dallas that he's preparing for a life in the event that wrestling didn't work out. So that's good for him. Then we have Kalisto. Again, there's not much that he did in WWE. I mean, he had that cool ladder spot back at TLC 2015. So there's that. Then we have Tucker. Now he's going around on Twitter like complaining about being released by WWE. And honestly, like Otis was the carrying, like he pretty much carried Heavy Machinery. And I think that Otis carried that group, WWE never should have broke up Heavy Machinery, because without Heavy Machinery, without them being together, honestly, both of them suck. Both of them really suck. Now, especially with Otis being in this like stupid ass tag team with Chad Gable, and well, you know what happened to Tucker after like he decided to turn on Otis at Hell in a Cell. So Tucker did nothing of use after that, and well, he can go complain and bitch about WWE all he wants. Then we have the rest of the crop. Chelsea Green. Now, I don't really know how to feel about Chelsea Green, but when I first saw Chelsea Green, she looked pretty hot. She looked pretty sexy. She made me want to go, yes, I ought to, but I'm just kidding. But I saw Chelsea Green a couple of times on NXT and I think that one time on SmackDown where she was in that qualifying match for Survivor Series and then she injured herself. And I think that's the biggest issue with Chelsea Green is that like I see all these like reports on like No DQ and on Twitter is that she gets injured a lot. She's like injury prone. She's kind of like Jimmy Garoppolo. Yeah, she's the female Jimmy Garoppolo. She's injured. She's injury prone. And it's kind of a shame, like I don't know how old she is, but if she's pretty young, then hopefully she can like continue to advance her career outside of WWE and make her name out there, break out in the business. But like from what I hear and see, she has potential, but I don't know, we'll see. Then we have the last two. I was waiting to say I guess you could say the worst yet best for last. The Moronics. The Moronics. Now, for as much as I don't want people to lose their jobs, the Moronic Iconics have been released from WWE, and thank you for releasing these cringy women, annoying women, these women that don't scream like heel heat, like true heel heat that makes you want to hate them. They scream, go away, get off my TV screen heat. In Billie Kay and Peyton Royce, they would just scream and shout and let it all out all the damn time. It was just too damn cringe. Now, I'm not like the Beaver, Kevin Dunn, where I just don't get the Moronics because of their accent. It's just that they're just really, really annoying. Now, granted, they're fucking smoking. They are smoking. I'm like, oh yeah. But the problem is, it's just like they're not funny. They'll never be funny. They were never funny in WWE, and they'll never get over. And I just don't see them like as potential stars in the wrestling industry because they're just too cringe. They're just too cringe with their moronic act. The moronic. But Billie Kay, Peyton Royce, like with all the wrestlers, I wish them the best of luck in WWE. I do hope though, because they're real best friends in real life, that they do team together in like the indies or like in TNA, or I don't know if AEW wants to like try with its women's division, they can like do something with that. Or, I think TNA has a women's tag team division that wants to be legit, then sure, whatever. But as long as I don't get to see them like on my TV screen, then yeah, whatever. So that is your list of released wrestlers from this past Thursday. Samoa Joe, the Iconics, Mickie James, Chelsea Green, Tucker, Kalisto, Bo Dallas, Mojo Rawley, and Wesley Blake. And honestly, WWE let go of most of the trash. They shouldn't have let go Mickie James. They shouldn't have let go Samoa Joe. And honestly, if we're like objectively speaking, they shouldn't have let go Chelsea Green too. I mean, she had the talent, she had the potential, she had the charisma, she had everything that the women's division should need to like at least try for a long-term future. But I don't know what they're doing. Maybe like I guess the injury proneness, like the female Jimmy Garoppolo, was just something that WWE couldn't afford. But what did you guys think about these releases that happened this past Thursday? I know I'm kind of late on this particular topic, but I just wanted to see if there were any other releases that happened this past weekend, but apparently there weren't. So it was the best time to talk about it now because there weren't any releases unless they were like quiet releases that happened internally in WWE. But thank you for joining me in this video for the Very Cold Lasagna YouTube channel. I am DylanLasagna. Make sure to keep that lasagna very cold in the fridge with your takes on sports and wrestling in general. And as always, do what I just said. I can't speak right now. But anyway, until next time, peace out.